Good evening, everyone. System Chalk here with the 188th episode of Book of Hours, playing as the artist, our first run through YouTube. Now, I'm changing up my recording schedule a little bit because it's a holiday today, and I haven't gotten too much done, so I wanted to do something. And I just really like playing Book of Hours. It's a good one for sort of taking my mind off things. So what that's going to mean, though, is at some point over the course of the recording, I'm going to need to sync things up again. And that just means that the kind of valley of ignorance between recordings is going to be shifted. It may mean that between some, like a Thursday and a Friday episode or something like that happens. I'll try to sync it back to the regular schedule, but I figured I should just say that now while I know it, rather than try to remember when the time comes to catch up on everything. Now, it has also been a little while since I've recorded the episode, so let's just take a quick look at what we're up to, what's happening in the world beyond Brandkrug, what visitors will the season bring. We may be at the end of the affair of the Messenger's casket. We are bringing Mrs. Kill in. We are helping with letters. I believe, we're starting summer, so there is something of an argument for us to try the 3 and the 3. Now, originally I was hoping to read one of the other editions of this. I believe there are 3 different versions of this text. We don't have any of them, it turns out. But I think probably making a bit more progress is preferable to trying to do them in a particular order. I mean, part of the fun of this game is that you do get to see things at different times, and they do give you sort of different perspectives on the world. So I'm going to take a quick minute and see what it'll take to read this text. I don't recall if we have a 10 moon. I think Desires and Dissolutions is my best shot here. Oh wait, Sickle and Eclipse maybe? Nope. Okay, so we've got 9 from the skill and then 1 from Trist. Now that would mean if I want to read it at a desk, remembering that I have 18 to put towards it, I could put the Wormwood Dream, or I could put a Weaving the World towards it. So 5 or 6 on memory. So we're up to 10, 15 or 16. So I need to find another 2 or 3. So the easy answer here would be to use the Catwink. And I guess what it really comes down to is how much am I willing to leave to chance. I think in this case here, it probably makes sense for us to actually just do it properly. So I'm going to take a minute. We'll go to the reading room for this one. So the book wheel is a DeWolf heirloom, a gift to Ava DeWolf from her admirer, the adept Franklin Bancroft. The desk and the lectern are much more recent. Steel plaques on both read to Gervenius Van Loren in gratitude for his assistance in the closing of the Winding Stair. E. Abney Hastings, Nocturnal Secretary, 1928. Now, it did just occur to me that if I don't use Weaving the World, I've just sort of wasted it. Okay, you know what? I am going to change it up. So I am going to take a risk after all. Part of that's just kind of contending with the potential waste from the Newman. So I'm going to take the Catwink. We'll make some replacement right away. We'll read this text, but what I'm also going to do is I'm going to get a moon right away. So I think probably an intuition would be the better option for me to work with there. Or contradiction. Or alternatively, I could go for a confounding parable. Sure, why not? I want to make sure that I leave a Trist aside just in case something comes up there. Now, I guess I want to make a replacement Catwink. I don't actually recall... I think it's maybe an Ink of Containment? Trying to think the best way that I could manage this. Okay, egg's still hatching, which is inconvenient for me. I could put the higher level Arab towards it, and this is not... Oh wait, what am I doing? I need the links of containment, not the... Yeah, so that won't do... This does get a little tricky, actually. So we can throw one of these in, but that does mean that I give up one of my more desirable elements of the soul. Might as well give up the Arab if that's the case, so brew a minor ink with a virtue against vermin. Okay, quite a bit of effort to get this Newman text read, but I'll take it. It's I think it's still worth it in the long run. What I may want to think about now, though, is how do I want to spend the rest of the day? I think probably unlocking a couple of containers would be a good idea, so we can take the coppery casket and the hive casket. So we'll use a fet for that. Something bright. What bright treasure? And then I do think we need to be building things with our skills. Again, we don't really have that much in terms of books to work with anymore, but we'll let kind of the time pass by. All right, another orphan chick. We will deal with that momentarily. Oop. Okay, so the sunny day won't really help with the 3 and the 3. Mrs. Kill stands ready to help. You always cheer me up, she says morosely. Mrs. Kill has seen more of the world than she usually lets on. Conversations with her yield the occasional surprise. So one of the things that's really holding us back right now is that we don't yet have a Newman which is attached to our specific goal. I mean, what I mean by that is the I could follow any given path as the artist. You're not limited in terms of what endings you can pursue. You may be locked out of a few of the specialized ones based on your journal, but if you have a particular ending you want, you can pursue that without any trouble in the game. But for my own part, I'm really looking forward to achieving an artist-specific ending, and so until we start seeing those, I'm in a little bit of a holding pattern until then. But that's fine, because that just gives us an opportunity to explore a few more things in the house. This is actually going to be one of these times where I catch up on some of the rooms. I was systematically going through the rooms at some point, and I've long since forgot where we were going with that. But there are some natural candidates, like just investigating all of the busts and finding out a little bit more about the house, and just generally doing the kinds of exploration that are part of the game normally, and maybe I've been a little more reluctant to do simply because I've limited the number of elements of the soul that I have. So there it is in Camino Tizzer. Mrs. Kill, as every local gossip knows, came from France to marry Mr. Kill, but there's scant trace of the continent in her accent now. In 15 seconds we'll see what the visitor is, and we're getting close to the point where we'll see what we're up against in terms of the book. There's still a chance. So we've got Ubi Sunt. Now I can never remember what this one does. Okay, so memory, we've got it, and an epiphany. Okay, so I am definitely going to want to rely on the... Definitely want to rely on the contradiction that I got, just because I can't know for sure if the moods will see me through. Looks like we don't have a looks like we don't have anything related to the coffin to work with here, so gonna bring that up quickly. Oh, we got another Chronsicord. A music box that only performs once, a typewriter that can only send one message, a clock that can only strike now. Let's find a safe place to put that. Okay. The Locksmith... Oop, the Locksmith... The Locksmith's Dream, Portions and Proportions, the second volume of Teresa Galmier's examination of the parallels in the mystic dreams of artisans. The frontispiece has been slashed with a razor. In this volume, Galmier records fewer dreams and explicates more of her own elaborate theories. We see this again and again. What is below can't escape what is above. The finest artisans all dream of the white door in the end. I'm no artisan, only a scholar. I think there is a secret that all these artisans know, but I think that secret is only half the story. So this confounding parable is really just so that I can get the moon, the moth, the grail, and the egg unhatching all tell different stories of the world's beginning. One of those stories is the oldest, but it may not be the first. Excuse me. All right. We'll bid farewell to the affair of the messenger's casket. In a hidden fold of the mountains above the city of Cluj lies the enigmatic relic they call St. Mihail's coffin. Decades of patient work have finally breached its outer shell, and the visitors we had were Dr. Aaron Peel. Dr. Peel, confident that the occupant of St. Mihail's coffin would escape soon, was equally confident that someone or something would be eaten by something or someone. He seemed quite chipper about it. MCO Lee suspected that St. Mihail's coffin might contain a name of the chandler, perhaps, she said, the second one she'd heard mentioned that year. She was clearly perturbed by the possibility. Dr. Southey, inspired by the stories of St. Mihail's coffin to look into the story of St. Columba's sarcophagus, seemed to find what she sought. Always the tide, she said. Daymare left Hush House with a plan to ensure St. Mihail, whatever he might actually be, stayed in his coffin. Princess Coquille believed that she'd learnt from her research at Hush House how to breach the coffin, and Zachary Wakefield seemed to think that he'd found the name of the coffin's key here at Hush House. A story has no beginning or end. Arbitrarily, one chooses that moment of experience from which to look back or from which to look ahead. Graham Greene. Nothing particular is afoot. Any visitors this season will likely just want a general consultation. So our hope, of course, is that we have someone who knows Hyksos, but we'll see where that goes. There tisn't can be no tizzer. Mrs. Kill, as every local gossip knows, came from France to marry Mr. Kill, but there's scant trace of the continent in her accent now. We'll wait the 1.2 seconds to see where this goes. And let me just make sure we're not being tested. All right, so I almost missed the opportunity to put that memory in, so we'll do that now. So now we're up to 19. And it is Peter Actistus, so in this case, we do not have Hyksos. We can still satisfy his curiosity, though. The Three and the Three, the St. Chiavi manuscript. This book describes the operations of the Chancel and the Calyptra, two triads of hours with subtle, far-reaching powers and responsibilities. Of all the extant versions, this one has best survived the interventions of the Calyptra. This book houses a Newman, a truth so powerful it can perhaps believe itself. Certain knowledge cannot be learnt by any entity below the rank of No, outside the covenant of the Watchman's Tree. The enforcement of this rule is Calyptra. The three who enforce it are Calyptra also. It is said that Janus elects Calyptra, that the Chancel is the judgment of Janus, that Janus is the wound in the law. The Watchman's Tree is a compromise. If Calyptra could end it, they would. If the Watchman could end Calyptra, he might. Between their planes conflicting, sparks illuminate the angles of unmade law. Three rulers. The hours are bound by their own edicts, even the Chancel and the Calyptra. That's why their deepest rules are secret. In certain histories, if we know those deepest rules, we know what even the Chancel and the Calyptra may not do. Any librarian can use this to establish a history and complete the game, but the revolutionary can win a particular victory. So in this case here, I'm going to make a quick note of this just because I have written down what each of these do. So this is a heart, moth, and scale for us. This might also be good for getting an old moment for experimentation. And we have 3 edicts inviolable. We knew that was coming up, but we also have quite a bit of heart to work with. So that is it as far as our tough tech, or any texts for that matter, are concerned. So we will have a chat with Peter in a minute. Those of you who are fond of the Dancer DLC will actually recognize this individual. A hive casket, a treasure stored by a visionary apiarist with Blomberende lineage. What overlooked delight. I suppose I should actually be focusing more on leveling up Edicts Inviolable. Okay, gossip. Frivolous but tasty. So I'm going to actually have a chat with Peter Igdistis right now just to kind of get him out of the way. Part of this is because I'm going to want to use the resources I have for the edicts. So, Mr. Peter Igdistis, musician, mystic, impresario. Igdistis was a dancer once. He cannot, one cannot see him without knowing it. The wound in his thigh keeps him from the stage, but every movement still has the cadence of a prayer. So he wants sky or heart. Someone is interested in the songs of earth and heaven, or someone is interested in healing and protection. How do you do, librarian? I crave your assistance. If there is an incident card active, you can discuss it, or just leave the slot empty and offer a consultation. So we can add an incident, a readable, or a tally. Now, if I add tally, he just doesn't know anything that we need right now. No incident. So if I add a readable, I mean, I would be interested. I should think a little bit about whether or not it makes sense to have a book that would be associated with Peter Igdistis. Usually it's something that these people have written, and we don't normally associate him with books that were written, but that could be wrong. In any case, I don't have any strong ideas about this right now, so we're just going to get the money. I can identify my visitors' interests and satisfy them with an appropriate book. Alternatively, if they know a language I'd like to learn, I can offer payment. So again, I could try and add the money, but payment for my visitor is nothing to offer me just now. So what we're going to do here, and I know this comes up every once in a while in the comments, so I'll just repeat it. We're looking for basically a 4 sky or a 4 heart book. And the reason why I'm going out of my way to find these lower level ones is that I like to keep as close to the requirement as possible so that I have the higher level books for future visits if we just happen to have a visitor come by very often. It's not really something you need to worry about when you have a large library like this, but, you know, we don't know how long the playthrough is going to go, so in this case, it's just a nice way for me to maintain things. Also, it's just, and I like it because in the end, this game is about sort of ordering knowledge and trying to connect people with the right books. So taking some time to think about it, to me at least, is a little way that I can express that in my character. So I'll wait 40 seconds for that last item, and then we'll start leveling up Edicts Inviolable. So in this case, I need Moon and Heart. So it was a little foolish of me to give up that Tryst, but we do have a core and we do have a health to work with right now. And in a pinch, it did occur to me that I didn't actually go back on the cycle with the Sweet Bones. So we'll get a core back just so that I can have a little bit more to level up Edicts Inviolable with, and then maybe we'll use a Fost or something to put that back. So the Storm is useful, the Solace is useful, but these don't have Heart. Also the 3 rules, but we'll leave that aside just because it's not something I can get from Mrs. Kell. What overlooked delight? Another Porphyrin, the Incastum Terminale of the Second History. It's the glowing crimson mauve of the secret histories. Porphyrin was venerated in secret by a confraternity of corresponding Cluniacs and Benedictines. Use an Incastum ink with your journal to make a determination and record histories. If the hours listen, the world changes. Definitely had a playthrough where I got a lot of Porphyrin, but then that was specifically because of a change that they made to the way the game works. All right, so the obvious step right now is to get rid of the ones that can be replaced. So we'll add the Solace and the Storm. We'll add Edicts Inviolable. I'll put the health in. I'm no expert, but I'm no dabbler either. I have a doubt that we'll be able to level up Edicts Inviolable all the way today, but we're well on our way to finding a balance. And then hopefully by then we'll have an offer from Oriflammes. How promising! You've satisfied your visitor and earned a reward, but the more they learn, the harder they'll be to satisfy in future. So hopefully we will get some more solace and storms from Mrs. Kill. We have a couple of other options to bring those in if we need them, but the ideal would be we use the 3 rules at the very end, just to close out the level, the session of leveling up, the three boosts. I don't really have a proper name for it. Okay, so 2 more. We're going to go up to 5. And we do just kind of need to wait on this. I do have the option of reading some books, and I'll take that shortly. But for now, we're going to earn some money at the Sweet Bones. There's not much work on offer at Brankrug, but I can find 6 pence worth of odd jobs. So basically, I have the option of using the Foss Medal or Whist to earn some more money, or I can use them to read certain books. Looks like it will be for reading books. There 'tis and can be no tizzer. So the tricky part for me right now is trying to decide whether or not it makes any sense to try and make something like a... So I can't use the 3 rules to make an old moment. That would close off an option for Edicts Inviolable. I need 3, so I can use the Metal Fost and Whist, but I've got 2 core right now. So I do actually need some sort of a story that tells me that I can get to that that higher level with 3 rules. We'll see what happens. So this is the time I should be reading the books. We can wait the 17 seconds with Mrs. Kill. I think, actually, you know what? I'm going to make a call here and say we're not going to worry about fixing and mending. I think I'm going to take a shot at the old moment. Now there's a couple of tricks that I can do here. So if I do the Auroral Contemplations, so I can add a Fost. Wait, that's a winning move, so that's... Right, it was Disciplines of the Scar. So we take the Revelation and the Sunny Day. Actually, I didn't even need... Yeah, didn't even need the Sunny Day. Okay, recall something lost, something scale aspected. And that's just going to set me up for the next day. And again, we're just waiting on Mrs. Kill. If she gives us a heart memory, great. If she doesn't... Alright. So I can use a Whist and a Metal to earn... Okay, well the Perugian Diaries is the obvious first step. I've already mastered this, but I could reread it and perhaps recall a memory. I also think probably the Storm would be a good idea here. Investigate this object, so we will have... We're guaranteed to have 3. Is there an optimistic version of this that says I wind up with 4 memories that are good for Edicts Inviolable? So, 3 rules, Old Wound... I can get an Enduring Reflection. I mean, maybe. I don't think I'm going to bank on it, but I guess the question is, what do I want to use the core for? We'll give it the 30 seconds with Mrs. Kill. That might change my thinking. Otherwise, I think probably we are due to go to the Sweet Bones or do some gardening. Probably Sweet Bones, just because gardening can take a while. Now, this is also partly on me. I didn't need to do some of those things that I did during the day, and we did know that the Edicts Inviolable were on their way to us. Okay, actually, that Stolen Secret might change the equation a bit. So I'm going to actually hang on to this core here. I've got... Stolen Secret, Storm Satisfaction. So again, we've got Cheerful Ditty, Old Wound, 3 rules. We could actually level it up right now. I'm probably going to wind up doing it. I just need to remember how to make an enduring reflection, but I don't think they're that hard. And part of this is a function of me knowing that I'll have a bunch of elements of the soul that don't have anything to do tomorrow. Mind you, it would be nice if she gives us a heart. Oh, bless your heart, Mrs. Kill. There it is and can be no tizzer. Mrs. Kill, as every local gossip knows, came from France to marry Mr. Kill, but there's scant trace of the continent in her accent now. The Perugian Diaries. In 1907, at the age of 18, Christopher Lopoli left Strathcoyne's household to study theology at the University of Perugia in Italy, enrolling under the name Christopher Strathcoyne. For 4 years, since his adoption from a Bristol orphanage, Lopoli served as Strathcoyne's pupil and protege, but his relationship with this austere and secretive man was always complicated. His journal confides, "I think Fraser's intentions are good, certainly he agrees, but I never understood the final goal of his investigations. He was never prepared to enlighten me, and good intentions or not, I can no longer bear this dream of eyes. We have agreed to part almost amicably." Lopoli left Perugia in 1909 without completing his degree. He had long lost interest in his studies, and the latter half of his journal is concerned with his studies of Umbrian folk songs and notes towards his own compositions, which are of widely varying quality. One of the better ones, In the Marshes of Night, suggests he visited the site of the old Lake Fucinus near Ortuccio. So we've got the Cheerful Ditty now. And we can add the 3 rules to the list. So in this case, we're really just giving up an old wound, and then we're good to go. So that seems to be a pretty small price to pay to get everything leveled up on the same day. And again, we really owe some pretty significant luck with Mrs. Kill for that. I'm just going to double check that I don't have anything obvious. Yeah, the old wound is definitely the one I want to use. So satisfying to have come so far. Now, given... Right, we're going to wait for the old moment. And if nothing else, we'll see if we can do something with the to generate an earthquake name in the next day's work. We might even try something cheeky with the Invincible Audacity. With keeper level scale, not lantern, an old moment can lead to an earthquake name. So old moments give us lantern, moth, and scale. Unfortunately, they're not persistent, so we need to dream on those. Now that night has fallen, I can rest and perhaps dream on the day's doings. And then there's one more important thing we need to do before wrapping up today. Skill is now level 5. Its power aspects have also increased. Edicts Inviolable. The precepts of occlusion and dissolution. Their jealous enforcement is the nature of the Calyptra. So 6 heart, 5 moon. And I'd say that is a good day's work. So thank you very much for watching. Now, if I'm getting my schedule correct, I believe this should be the Monday episode for a future week. So there's not usually an episode for Tuesdays, so I will see you the day afterwards. And again, I am going to be recording these in a slightly haphazard way just because I have an opportunity to record some extra episodes, and I could use a few things to take things off my mind. So in this case, I'll probably do a few more Book of Hours episodes, but if it seems like I am more confused between two episodes than I usually am, that's just because I wound up recording. I wasn't able to get a full week done in one day's session. In any case, looking forward to the next one. Until then, take care.